If you've ever watched an NFL game, or any football game for that matter, you've seen the chaos that ensues from this modern day gladiator sport. Bodies flying all over the field, massive collisions happening on field, and all too often with these collisions, there is the possibility of injury, whether it's breaking bones, ligament damage, or brain trauma such as concussions or repeated blows to the head. Despite all of this damage and violence that's associated with the NFL, I still happen to be a massive NFL fan, an NFL junkie, so to speak. But there's one thing that I just cannot stand about the NFL, and that is its policy on marijuana and players using marijuana. Oftentimes, players are suspended, penalized, fined for using marijuana, and it can go so far as to having a player banned and having them have to get reinstated, all for using marijuana. I think the NFL should allow its players to use marijuana for pain management, along with using marijuana for dealing with brain trauma as well. And there's a couple different reasons why. Firstly, marijuana is a known neuroprotectant, even so far as the US government acknowledging that it's a neuroprotectant, with a US patent being filed for its neuroprotectant ability. As a neuroprotectant, this essentially means that marijuana aids with helping your brain bounce back from brain trauma associated with things such as stroke or a massive blow to the head like a concussion as well. It also helps as a neuroprotectant to combat neurodegenerative diseases such as Alzheimer's, or for the NFL's case, CTE, which is a disease that essentially deteriorates the brain and is associated or correlated with repeated concussions sustained by NFL players. It is seen in so many different deceased NFL players' brains when they're examined through autopsy. One of the most recent high-profile cases of it to be shown actually was happening within a young NFL player's or former NFL player's brain with Aaron Hernandez, who, after having hung himself in jail, brain tissue was examined from him and it highlighted CTE being in his brain. So marijuana can help reverse these neurodegenerative diseases, and according to Dr. Suzanne Sisley, who works for Doctors for Cannabis Regulation, marijuana also exhibits neurogenesis capability. Neurogenesis is essentially your brain being able to create new neural tissue, which is all too important for an NFL player when you're sustaining concussions or brain trauma and having neural damage and losing millions of neurons from repeated blows to the head. Preclinical data obtained by Dr. Suzanne Sisley suggests that cannabinoids from marijuana help to facilitate neurogenesis at a receptor level in the brain, which is a massive and exciting development within marijuana research. Marijuana is also an effective tool for pain management, as it is an anti-inflammatory, so it helps with all the general aches and pains that are associated with football play, whether it's bad back for alignment or ligament damage as well. It helps combat these inflammatory injuries. Now, the norm currently for the NFL to combat a variety of these aches and pains is to have team doctors prescribe opiate drugs. But considering the massive problem and opiate epidemic and addiction to opiate prescriptions that is going on currently in the US, I find it very alarming that opiates for pain management is commonplace in the NFL. And according to a 2009 study by Washington University's St. Louis School of Medicine, which interviewed over 600 or surveyed over 600 retired NFL players, a vast majority of these NFL players, over 50%, admitted to misusing or overusing their prescribed opiates, even getting them from different sources other than their team doctor, whether it was internet or a drug dealer even. And this study also concluded that these retired NFL players surveyed, it suggested that retired NFL players misuse prescription opiates at a rate four times higher than the general population of America, which is all too alarming. And given the negative side effects associated with opiate drugs as well, and the negative side effects associated with concussion symptoms, whether it's memory loss or mood swings or suicidal thoughts, I think it's all too dangerous to have an opiate drug side effects mixed up with these concussion-related side effects as well. All in all, I think that the NFL is dropping the ball majorly on continuously suspending and fining players for using marijuana when marijuana exhibits so many benefits for NFL players, ranging from being able to bounce back from repeated blows to the head, helping to combat neurodegenerative diseases such as CTE, or just general aches and pains. And considering that marijuana doesn't have that addictive dependence level that opiates exhibit. There's not this massive marijuana crisis epidemic happening where people are addicted and overdosing on marijuana all over the country, yet with opiates there is. So for the NFL to say that one dope is good, but the other dope is not, even though one dope is killing people and the other dope is not, is just baffling to me. And you can even look at, just from an advertising perspective with the NFL as well, alcohol advertisers are a massive contributor to the NFL, and there's nothing that alcohol companies hate more than marijuana. And this is seen in different states that have legalized marijuana as well, where sales have dropped for alcohol companies, and that's got to be pretty alarming for them. So it really starts to make you think, where does the NFL's interest truly lie? Is it all about the money and perception, or is it truly about their NFL players and what the NFL players bring for them on a weekly basis, Sunday, Monday night games, Thursday night as well? So all in all, the NFL should allow its players to use marijuana as a tool for pain management and as a tool to combat all the negative side effects associated with concussions and concussion-related symptoms.